Hello and welcome to the first testing of a live stream. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I wasn't sure if this was going to work or not, but I said, what is the way that I can show up here more consistently with less friction? And so I asked myself, what is causing friction? Well, what's causing friction for me is recording in a separate studio, editing it, and then posting it. And I realized that that was my bottleneck. And I was like, how can I make this less of a bottleneck for me? And so I said, you know what? I wonder if I have live capabilities to be able to come on here and share where I'm at in the journey. And that was the whole intent of this video, is to share with you all where I'm at on this path called creator entrepreneurship. And I really came on here because I was inspired by the fact that I had the chance to talk to two people today that I went to university with. One was a sorority sister, and two was my academic advisor. And see, this is what's interesting about going live. This is literally why I was like, I want to reduce the friction, because even now I'm with you all. I can feel the training wheels of creating content preventing me from showing up in the way that I naturally show up. And I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. I was going to do this on Instagram, and I was like, you know what? I love Instagram. It's been near and dear to my heart for over a decade, almost 15 years, but it has turned into something else, as all of these platforms have turned into something else. But the reality is, when we go onto Instagram, we approach it differently. Let's be honest. They would probably be watching me on the toilet right now, which is okay and fine and dandy, because you're going to be there for as long as you're going to be there. And you can also do that here on YouTube. But yeah, I just realized that after I did the Stand There to Post challenge, where I posted for 30 days straight on Instagram, I just realized I was not a short form girly. I am a long form beep. And I would say I've been like that most of my life. And what does a long form beep mean? Yeah, I think the best way I could describe it is that I feel like short form translated into daily experiences is really surface level. And yeah, it just is really just talking about other people, um, talking about just really simple things. Like, you can't really get too deep into it on Instagram. I mean, mind you, yeah, like there's lives and they were doing IGTV for a second and stuff, but that's not what the platform has evolved into. And it really is just like popcorn. You think that you are filling yourself, but you're never actually satiated. And so for me, I feel like YouTube is more like soul food, where I really get to show up fully as I am, and yeah, just be fully present with the people who are on the other side of it, and with myself. I've even now, and I'm even like saying this out loud, like I wanted to go on Instagram and be like, screw all of the like storytelling methods. Because if you're on the other side, from consumer to creator, once you start learning how to become a creator online, the current language that's out there is to communicate in stories and to become a storyteller, which I completely understand, which totally makes sense. I think it's a skill worth investing in. But I had to ask myself, what am I really training myself to do if I'm wanting to practice the skill of storytelling? And I asked myself, would my childlike self would think about how I'm going to go up to someone and talk to them in a story, Am I going to interact with them like, here's my hook, here's my story, and here's my close? This is what they're telling us for the gurus who are online saying, how can you grab someone's attention? And I just realized that it's not as close to real life as possible. And that's why I was like, I'm going to go live. This is as real as I can get. But I want you to actually witness that even within those 30 days of posting on Instagram, it did this. It did this to my speech. It broke up my speech in a sense of, which I appreciate. I appreciate taking the pause before like saying what you have to say. But it broke up my speech as if I can stop, pause, and record. It broke up my speech in a way that I know that I was going to edit this later. And that's just not a pattern I wanted to continue to put grooves in my language, in my speech, in my communication. And so that's why I jumped over to YouTube. And I was like, I'm going to try and break this pattern. It's still happening right here, right now with all of you. And so I saw that too. Like, just because I had the tool to be able to edit it, and what was actually happening, what is actually happening right now, because I had the capabilities of editing it. And I was like, yeah, this is not real life. I would not approach someone. Sure, I guess. Like, how can I hook this person into listening and paying attention to me? And I think that's a part of the problem. The part of the problem is that we're not even really willing to be interested in others unless they're interesting. And I'm taking a deep breath right now because I'm recognizing that I have a whole thing I wanted to talk to y'all about, but I guess we're going to be just moving in this direction. And it makes sense. It makes sense for this video. So I'm going to follow that. I'm going to follow that. At this point in time in history, we're not even willing to give someone the attention unless they are interesting and they haven't hooked us. And this is a reality. You can get hooked by someone's attire, by the way that they're talking, the way that they're acting, the way that they're performing, maybe they're on stage, maybe you are in the middle of a transaction. There's so many ways in real life. I'm trying to think, what are ways in real life can someone hook your attention? And for me, I'm just asking, how do you communicate that when really, I speak for myself, I can't speak for other people, but when you don't have all of that, when you don't have, girl, Christine, I hope you're still not here. This is what happens. This is when I go live. I'm just like, all right, now we're gonna, okay, someone's here. And it's different. That's literally what I'm saying. Like, this is as close to real life as you can get through the digital world. And that's why I'm just like, yeah, I was like, I cannot, not that I cannot, I'm choosing not to play the short form game because it's not as close to real life as possible. The short form game is like being in a mall. Think about that. Instagram is like being in a mall 24/7. If you're born in the 80s and you've lived through the 90s, you know that being in a mall, there's a level of preparation that comes with that. You know, first and foremost, you're going to roll deep with your homies, whoever that may be. You're going to dress cute. You're going to find the spot that has, I mean, if I was doing that, not like I was doing that. I wasn't doing that in the malls. But if I was doing that at Desert Sky Mall in Phoenix, Arizona, I would sit in front of the stores that I think that the cuties are going to be coming out of with my homies. That's not what I was doing. I was too young to do that. But just even that in itself is so performative, right? And exactly what I'm talking about right now. How are you going to, that cutie come out the store? I don't know what store that is for you. That could be so many. Yeah, I'm trying to think of all those stores. If you know what Anchor Blue is, you know what Anchor Blue is. you don't, that's okay. But like that is the point of the hook. How are you going to hook this stranger to get their number? I would say, hey girl, what's your name and number? Let me get your jersey, girl. Your name and number. Okay, that wouldn't have worked back then, but that's literally what I'm trying to say. It's not, Instagram is like the 80s and 90s mall. And to be in that mall, there's a level of performance that needs to happen. You're going to come up with your best self. You're going to roll with your friends and you're trying to hook strangers. But that's not real life. Are you at the mall trying to talk to every single person that walks by? No. You're, if anything, I'm trying to pay attention to the people I roll deep with. That's who I'm trying to pay attention to. That's who I'm wanting to continue to be in conversation with. That's who I'm trying to roll deep with. And yeah, I'm just not here for the short form, popcorn, surface level conversations and content. And so I have found myself now here on YouTube learning that, yay, I can do it live. And this is really refreshing. And I'm grateful. I mean, you see it right now. I mean, I don't even know if she's still here, but my sister showed up. Christina showed up and boom. Didn't you just see the moment I like lit up and was like, hey girl, what's up? What's good? You know, that's literally what I'm trying to say. I cannot recreate this for you on an Instagram post. And so for me, now I'm trying to like, why am I here? And this is what I'm trying to say. This is what it's like to actually be in the presence of somebody else. And that's, I think, what I'm trying to say is like, how can you hook someone with how present you are, with how interested you are, not necessarily interesting. And I think that's why I'm like, I don't know if I can play that game. I don't know. Like, yeah, that's just not the game I'm trying to play. And that's okay. If that's the game you're trying to play, that is totally fine. I cannot, that's just not for me. I've realized that if I'm going to hook anyone, it's because it's like attracts like, right? And I would rather be rolling deep with people where there's alignment in that. And for me, those who I'm rolling deep with are more concerned about being interested in others and how we can best support and contribute to each other's well-being and growth than being interesting. And this is the quote I'm pulling this from. It's better, and I don't know if the word is better. Let me pull up the quote exactly, because y'all know me, I'm like, I don't like misquoting people. And I also want to give people their flowers, you know, like who did I actually pull this conversation from? So the quote is, and who even knows? Look, I probably took myself off live. You see, that's what happens when you're learning something new. Are we even here? Is it still working? I don't know. This is what you get when you learn something new, eh? Don't know. Literally, don't know where I put my camera. Don't know where I put you. Don't know where you're at. It's okay. I'm smart. I'm a smart human being. I'm gonna figure it out. This is what it means to go live right now. That's okay. I'm still gonna pull up the quote. Oh, there you are. Hi. Taking a deep breath. Okay. The quote. Yeah, it is. It is better. The word is better that they're using. It's better to be interested than interesting. And it's by Jane Fonda, which is really cool. I'm not showing up on socials, on these platforms, because I think that I'm interesting. And I'm not trying to prove to you that I'm interesting because I have nothing to prove, because I'm not here for your entertainment. If you want to be entertained, my goodness, you have a plethora of options. But I'm here because I'm wanting to put out flares to those who want to roll deep in all the ways necessary. And I think that that requires being interested in yourself and how things are moving and grooving in here, being interested in others, and just being interested in life itself. And for me, and a better word I'd prefer to use, is to be curious, about ourselves and our inner workings and how it's being expressed in the world, to be curious about others and their inner workings and how it's being expressed in the world, to be curious about how the world is working and what is currently being expressed in the world. I know that requires more than a 30-second video, a 60-second reel, a 10-slide carousel, and even a long form video on YouTube. This is as close to you on the other side of this that I can be at this point. I'd like for us to get off this thing eventually so that we can actually experience the practice of curiosity and being interested in each other and others and all that's happening around us. And yeah, I guess I'm just here to say, I think as a human being, as we are all multifaceted and have so many different ways to express ourselves, I think what I'm more interested in is actually what we have in common and what brings us together. And I would like to start by saying how I live my life is not all that interesting. I say that in a sense of I have my morning routine. You know, I wake up, I come onto the balcony, I stretch and I practice my mobility. I do my mobility workout. I meditate. I do my morning pages. I make my cup of coffee. I'm doing vocal warm ups now. I get dressed and I come here to this screen, figuring out and practicing being a creator entrepreneur. Right now, that may seem really boring to a lot of people. But damn, if I tell you what the actual process is like, I know my sister who jumped on for a second. It is the most interesting, challenging, and rewarding process. I would say top 3 that you can have in the human life. The top 2 And this can be in hodgepodge, and it can rotate. And actually my sister's doing all three right now. Girl, you not that you crazy, but dang. I think the other two, they're just also as interesting, challenging, and rewarding is choosing your life partner and raising children. And that has and entrepreneurship itself is about others. So again, none of them have to do with you as an individual. Because the reality is, I think we all want similar things. We want we and let's name it. We want excellent health. We want more than enough resources, whatever that may look like to you. We want to be in deep, loving, caring relationships. We want to just overall be well. I think these are fundamental wants, desires, and states of being that humans, I say, are deserving and have a right to experience. And so, yeah, the pursuit of those things may seem boring, but damn, it's an interesting process. And so to convey that in short form content to a stranger, like what? I'm thinking back to the mall. Why would I convey to a stranger, hey yo, check out my life? Like what? That's weird. That's different. That's weird. That's different. It's kind of weird. But it's like what we do nowadays. We're constantly in a mall 24/7 with this thing in our pocket. And we're like, hey, yo, check out my life in bite-sized pieces of content. Because that's what you do, right? You get that person's Instagram, not even their number anymore. You get their Instagram. You check out their life to see if they're interesting for you to continue to be interested in them. But for you to continue to be interested in them, there's a level of interest in your development as a human being. Because if not, and I'm going to tell you this, I ran into this way too many times. The relationship is boring as hell. I'm just going to say that. And yeah, it's just like popcorn. Again, you think you're eating something and it's filling you, but you're never satiated. And it's never like soul food. And the reality is, soul food is the one that like hits you deep in your spirit. But people can only meet you as deep as they've met themselves. So it is what it is. That's okay. We're all on our own journey. I was just here to say and see if this YouTube live stream worked so I can reduce the friction in my content creation and just let y'all know I was coming here to tell y'all where I was at in the journey, but apparently this is where I'm at right now. Yeah, that it's better to be interested than interesting. So for those of you who are ready to leave Instagram, come over here to YouTube. But once we come over here, let's get ready to leave YouTube. Because this isn't real life. You don't actually know me. This is just me showing up on camera, but it's very different in person. And I think that is the most important thing that we can do right now is actually connect beyond the screen. I love it. It's a beautiful tool. It's doing its thing. We're here right now. But I just want you to know being in each other's presence and being present in that process is actually the gift. So, with that said, thank you for allowing me to test out this process and for allowing me to share where I'm at in the process. And wherever you're at in your process, I hope that you feel resourced in more ways than just finances, but in health, in time, in relationships, and that you just overall feel supported by those you've surrounded yourself with, by the tools that you have access to, and just know and recognize that even if we had none of that, we are supported by the ultimate divine creative power and being. So, with that said, my alarm is going off. And I'll see you all in the next live stream because a girl is not putting this in a separate recording platform anymore. I'm just going to show up as is. And this is me as is. So welcome to No Role Models. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.